or stay out. And the teams don't have to be in the room physically. If you guys want to be outside practicing or something like
Okay.
that. But it's a little bit discourteous to not
Yeah, yeah.
support
Like
you.
we're a full
Yeah,
time
yeah,
person.
there you go. Go right ahead, Joyce.
Good afternoon, my name is George. We are Code 4 Cloud, and we're very happy to be presenting to you today and giving you the opportunity to invest in our business plan. Our company consists of our team, myself, George, I'm the CEO. Also, Moises Altares, our marketing person,
Moises.
our CFO,
Lucio McElroy.
our human resources director, Mira Yeager. The cloud is the most important paradigm shift in IT since the invention of the internet. And companies around the world are already beginning to move into this type of solution. Our company is currently providing IT managed services, but we see a vast potential in moving to cloud type of services. So we're looking to leverage that opportunity by moving to the cloud. Our company motto is that we take care of your IT so that you can focus on your business. Today, I'll be presenting our business concept overview as well as the IT operations plan. Moises will be speaking about our market strategy. Lucio McElroy will be talking about our financials, and Mira Yeager will be speaking about our operational plan. Companies today are experiencing a rising cost in terms of hardware and software. They're trying to deal with the increased complexity of IT in general, and also paying for an internal IT staff to deal with these solutions that are many times stovepipe and siloed, meaning that the solutions that they currently have in-house are bits and pieces. They're not communicating, they're not holistic, and they're in different areas of the cloud sometimes. So company owners don't want to have to pay for these rising costs in hardware and software, nor do they want to pay for the exorbitant costs of their own IT staff. Our solution is to come up with an integrated and holistic approach that reduces the overall cost of IT ownership. And the cloud is one of the most important business value drivers today, driving things such as agility, focus, and economics. Agility refers to a company's ability to ramp up or ramp down activity depending on their type of activity level. They're not tied to one particular infrastructure if they get a lot of customers or seasonal activity, and they can quickly ramp down as needed. This is a consumption-based approach, so that way they pay only for what they use. Focus refers to a company's ability to reallocate their capital and their resources towards business strategic plans instead of simply keeping the lights on for the IT guys. And economics refers to the economies of scale that you can leverage in order to reduce your costs dramatically. Other benefits of the cloud include the fact that your applications will always be up and running. It gives your company the ability to recover from disasters. It allows you to quickly develop procedures to address the market and be ready for it. You can shift your capital expenditures from a CapEx to an OpEx expenditure, so you're not stuck with these large IT infrastructures that you might never use. And in reality, the cloud can actually improve your security if your staff is not dealing with security correctly. So, in the past, it was just the big guys like Disney, Coca-Cola, ESPN that can afford to have their own private cloud. They had the money and the staff to leverage these types of solutions. Code 4 can make it so that the cloud is a solution for small and business companies, and we're going to get our customers to the cloud in a safe, operationally efficient, and cost-effective manner. And it's a wide open industry. You can see from these numbers that it's not a matter of if companies are going to be moving to private, hybrid, and public cloud solutions. It's projected to be a $241 billion industry in the year 2020, rising up from 55 billion in 2014 and 40.7 billion in the year 2010. So it's not a matter of if they're going to be moving, they will be. We're hoping that they partner with us to get them there. This is an industry breakdown of the cloud opportunity, and we're going to be operating in the network management, technical support, data storage, application and service provisioning, and business process management sectors. Pretty much all of these sectors right here, and other services as they come about. So our approach is going to be to begin with a targeted approach, focusing on a type of company that needs to have a mobility type of solution, meaning that their resources are out there in multiple locations. They need to have data as it happens, meaning real-time data, not data from a week ago or a month ago, but real time. So we're going to be creating this solution as an integrated package that includes software as a service, because a lot of businesses create their businesses around these specific line of business applications. A hosted desktop so that they can access their data from any device, whether it's an Android, Mac, PC, or iPhone. Hosted server to house their data that they might generate from their line of business application. And on top of that, our managed IT services, because they're going to need our specialized support services to make sure that all these things are up and running correctly for them. So from an operational perspective, it's going to give our customers the ability to constantly be able to look at their resources out on the field from their own operational dashboard. This is going to save them a lot of money in fuel. They're going to be able to optimize their routing and their idling time. And this, therefore, save money and stop burning up money on fuel. The more they save, the better, more efficient they are. They're going to be able to improve their green initiatives and increase their responsiveness. And it'll also improve their overall safety of their resources that they have out on the field. So here to talk about our strategic marketing plan is Moises Altares.
Thank you, George, for that introduction. Let me begin our market analysis with an article that was published in the Air Conditioning, Heating, Refrigeration News. The title of the article is Using Cloud Technology to Manage Fleets. Now, the article is about the benefits of cloud computing, the HVAC, or heating, ventilating, and air conditioning industries. Steve Eppinger enumerates mobility, portability, on-demand document management, vehicle tracking, increased efficiency, and paperless transaction. Now, Eppinger sees here the advantages of using cloud computing, the HVAC service industry. What our business is seeing is a market for our services. So here's our market segmentation. IBIS World, an industry market research firm, listed 84,125 HVAC businesses in the United States. Since our business location is in Beverly Hills, we will be starting our business in the neighborhood in Los Angeles and in the neighborhood counties. Using Google Business Map, we came out with 4,841 HVAC companies in near Los Angeles. Now, we made market research, and this is the result of our primary research. We came out with 36 respondents. Now, the first 5 questions are just qualifying questions, just to see if they are really in the HVAC service industry. Like, are you SVAC service provider? Which 36 said yes. Uh, Question number 6. Uh, do you use fleet management system or programs or software to manage your fleet? Uh, 36 respondents say no. Uh, will you be using fleet management soon? 36, 36 said no. We just interpret this as a market, that the market opportunities is wide open. Question number 8, how do you keep customer data, equipment maintenance, and service record? Uh, the choices are paper, office computer, and the third party's cloud. As you can see, one respondent said that they are already using the cloud as part of their storage. Now, we just interpret this is that the SVAC industry is adapting to the cloud. Question number 9, would you be interested in IT service and cloud for fleet management? 4 said they are interested. Now, this is 11% of 36 respondents. Now, this could actually be converted into sales. So, we came for something like a market analysis again. Those 11% can be interpreted again as a market share of those 4,841 HVAC service companies. Those 11% is equivalent to 533 HVAC service companies. Now, we use as conservative numbers of users per HVAC company, which we use only 3, just to make it little bit safe for our projection. So 533 times 3 times $25 a month. That is the price of our one of our package, software as a service, uh, which we are selling at $25 per month. That will be equivalent to sales of almost $40,000 dollars per month. Remember, it is per month. Now, that per month projected to a year is equivalent to almost $500,000 or $500,000.
I'm not following that math to get to 39,000. You're taking $25 a month
Mhm.
times 3.
Mhm. 25 times 533 SVAC
Oh, I
service
see.
company.
Okay. So it's 3 users within each company.
Mhm.
Oh, I see.
So that is capturing 11% of this 4,841. Uh, if we capture 20%, that will be projected to almost a million. If we capture 30% of that 4,841, that is almost equivalent to 2 million now. 50%, we have an income of $2,206,000 per year. Here's a specific account, the Kilowatt HVAC service company that is located at Skulbida Boulevard. Their business operation is service and repairs, scheduled preventive maintenance, new installations. Because they are not using the cloud, uh, they don't use fleet management system because it is, as they say, it is expensive. But as George said, we are offering software as a service at a price lower than if you buy it as software. And assuming the 7 technicians that is driving the 7 vehicles, the manager, the customer representative, which is always in the office, would subscribe to software as a service at $25 a month. What we have here is an income sales sales of 2,700 per year with this company. Now, what is important here is the repeatability of the business. once we close a deal with this specific account, uh, they are continually subscribing to us, to the business, to the company every month. Although it's small, but if you want to buy it every month, it's going to turn big. Now, one of the advantages also of our market is that it is not affected by the seasons. They are non-seasonal customers. Remember, HVAC, heating, they're going to repair your heater when it's cold. Uh, when it's hot, they're going to repair your air conditioning. So they're not seasonal. Okay, here's our competitors. Actually, Robert Key here listed 186 cloud services that are either providing software as a service or manage IT as a service. So how do we differentiate our company? This is to offer fleet management software as one of our added software to the business application. So you can see that we are really trying to go deep down the specific account. Here we have the logis. They are also offering fleet management software, but they don't offer this managed IT and this business applications. Okay, so here's our competitive advantages. Advantage. Uh, Fleet Cloud will provide technology, business processes, and fleet management system uniquely tailored to the needs of the HVAC industry. So here's again the pricing strategy of our services. Basic managed IT service at 1,500 a month. That includes a hosted server, one desktop, uh, business application software, and here again is our differentiator, fleet management software and hardware maintenance. For additional desktop, you add $50 each. Additional server, add $100 per server. And here's our package 2, software as a service, uh, which we sell at $25 per user per month. That includes business application software or fleet management software. This one is for those uh, really small companies. Here's our marketing plan. Okay. With the advantages of the internet, we are going really to take advantage of the Google Business Maps. Now, this Google Business Maps, as you can see, they are already listing the exact location of the business which we are trying to target. They put in their address, their telephone numbers, and their emails. So the customers here are ready for the picking. We just have to do some telemarketing, something like that, to schedule a demo of our products. Same with the yellow pages. It's out in the open. The customers are out in the open. We just have to uh, pick them up, try to make schedule. We have a Fleet Cloud website just just for the Fleet Cloud services, which we will call Fleet Cloud Management. Now the search engine optimization is Fleet Cloud and Management. It has a view demo. Now the view demo should be able to grab attention within 10 seconds and within 55 seconds understanding of our product. We don't want the searcher to be bored, something like that. We will also advertise in trade magazines, particularly HVAC Insider. As you know, every subscriber of that trade magazine is a potential sales lead. So we will be introducing our new product and services in a trade show. We will be meeting new customers. We will be educating our customers with publication, videos, and other audiovisual materials through these trade shows. Now, here's also a good, I think a good advertisement for our business. It's a car hub, which only have an initial cost of $2,000. Now, what is good with this car hub is while it's on the road, it will be communicating our services, and while it is parked, it's still communicating our services. Here's our marketing budget. HBAC Insider News, totaling 766. Website, $500. Trade shows, $7,000 per trade show. Car wrap, 2,000 per car. Total cost is $9,776. Now, other marketing communication uh, were not anymore considered because of the abundant source of sales lead in the yellow pages in the Google business map. Now, here's how we are going to measure our marketing effectiveness. We are going to put, of course, we are going to put values on the sales lead. Uh, Here is something how it will look like. For example, the trade magazine, it's cost us 766. This is just a sample. If we could generate 50, but we can only convert 20, the value will still be considered. The ratio here was just trying to compare how much value the cost, maybe the cost 766, just comparing something like the cost. So let me introduce you again, George here.
Thank you very much, Moses. I'm going to be going ahead and talking about our IT operational plan and basically how exactly we're going to be delivering this service to our customer. We're going to be delivering this service from our IT operational center, which is going to be based out of the ITIL and Microsoft operational framework. The ITIL framework refers to the overall guidance of data center design, and Microsoft Operational Framework refers to the day-to-day execution of those procedures that are necessary to deliver the proper cloud type of services. There's another conceptual model of how we're going to be delivering our service, and it's based out of some ISO standards, and also we're going to be making sure that our administrative system-centered toolkit is used in order to deliver this Microsoft Operational Framework. Our design is going to be an actual cloud itself to be delivered to the customer, which is going to be a highly available architecture, meaning that we're not going to be down for any type of time for our customers. That means that our customers are going to be always have their applications running 24/7, 365 days a year. That means that we're going to have a site that is going to be failing over automatically if necessary, and our resources are going to be balanced. Our data and our network are going to be highly secure and encrypted, and we're going to be PCI, HIPAA, and Sarbanes-Oxley compliant. PCI refers to the payment card industry. Those are the standards for those. HIPAA refers to medical. Sarbanes-Oxley is for accounting and finance type of companies. This is another conceptual framework of how we're going to be delivering our service. Our infrastructure will be based out of a networking, storage, and computing infrastructure. Our customers will be acquiring our services, but they're never going to know exactly where our services are being delivered from exactly because they don't need to have a specific set of architecture that belongs specifically to them. It's resource pooled. This is what the portal looks like from the customer's perspective. Whenever they want to have, let's say, for example, 25 new machines, they'll go to their portal, ask for the 25 new machines, put in a request automatically through the internet. It comes to us. Our infrastructure, without us being involved, spins up 25 new machines, and they're up and running. This is a process that in the past would have taken a typical IT department about 2 to 3 weeks to perform. We can do it in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. So how good is that? We're going to be monitoring our framework. and we're going to be able to see exactly if there's any things that might be causing us to be concerned of, alerts, service level objectives. Our delivery model will be based out of a service level agreement, which will guarantee certain objectives that we have to meet, contractual obligations. Hosted virtual desktops will be running inside of our Hyper-V servers, redundant switches, redundant storage, and we're going to be monitoring that, as I stated previously, with our System Center toolkit to make sure that these services are running 99.999% of the time. That translates to 8 minutes of downtime per year. Our risk matrix. We've identified the fact that many customers are very adverse or apprehensive to go to the cloud because they're concerned of hearing a lot of things about cloud security. We make sure that we address security. We make sure that we address security by being compliant with a lot of type of security procedures. One of them is that our data, when it's going through the internet, is encrypted en route, and it's encrypted when it's at our location. Access inside of our data center is compartmentalized, so one of our techs doesn't have access to infrastructure, and an infrastructure tech doesn't have access to the actual procedures, so they're compartmentalized. They don't have access together, so therefore it alleviates the problem of an internal person stealing any type of data. And the clients themselves will be using two-factor authentication to validate identity so that they can connect to their cloud services. This is the facility diagram of our location, and this will be our location of our server room where we're going to be delivering our operations center from. And here to talk about our human resources plan is Mira Yeager, and Lucille will take your place today.
Good afternoon. Thank you, George. Here's our organizational chart with George Garcia as our CEO, Lucille McElroy as our CFO, Mira Yeager as our Chief Compliance Officer and HR Director, and Moises Altaras as our Marketing Director. The CEO roles and responsibilities comprise of providing leadership and motivation, ensure effective internal controls. HR compliance to manage the workforce environment, develop job description and recruitment strategy, as well as to comply with federal and state laws. There are challenges with human resources, such as the diverse workforce, perceived value, and the changing environment and needs. The responsibilities during the planning phase would be to obtain a federal tax ID and state employer ID, obtain the necessary business insurance, and address liability issues. The responsibilities at operating phase is to provide trainings, post mandatory notices and regulations, conduct periodic personal file audit. The benefits of that is, actually this has to be changed to be, it's going to be we're going to start $3,000 monthly with a compensation of medical $5,000 per year budget. That has medical coverage, paid 2 week vacation, paid sick leave, paid legal holidays if they are being called to work. And for hiring requirements, depending on the work that you'll be doing, there will be needed certificates, degrees in IT systems, network developer, information systems, security, database management, such as Cisco, depending on the vendor, such as Microsoft, they have their required certifications as well. Preferably experience of 3 to 5 years. We will be conducting strict background checks, drug tests, and ideally to train to be in our to fit in our organizational culture. Code of ethics is to provide quality service and provide high customer satisfaction. Policy and procedures, new employees will receive policies and procedures handbook, and it is like a pact that they will protect clients' information. Business conduct would be not to make any untrue statements of material fact, outside employment not to interfere with employees' capability to use full service corporate cloud, just in case you want to apply. And for the HR contractors, we will have agreements that will be part of our policy, such as the working partner agreement and the non-disclosure of highly confidential information. We hope to retain the records up to 5 years, and when we become a public company, we have to keep them for up to 7 years. And also to create a disaster contingency plan just in case of a network failure. George discussed about the automatic failover. We have to obtain the right permits and licenses, and we hope to be incorporated with the state of California. And our company will be providing a uniform such as the sky blue polo shirt with a Code for Cloud logo on it, and the black pants will be provided by the employee. We researched 3 areas such as Los Angeles, Glendale, Beverly Hills, and we chose Beverly Hills because it is secured. The building we saw is a full service building, very well maintained, and also very ample parking area. Our operation will be from 8 to 5, however, just like any IT, you're always on call. And with regards to the financial plan, there is a timeline when we plan and execute this operation. Planning phase is the selection of the business concept. Preparation is the developing of the service strategy and the developing of the business plan. Execution phase would be the securing of the business location, beginning the marketing campaign, and the review phase would be around 6 months from now, wherein we will compare what we planned during our budget and how we are doing in our actual operations, deviating and plugging the variance. Startup plan funding would be a $25,000 contribution per member, 4 times 25,000 is 100,000, and outside investors of 200,000. And we would like to allocate 40% of equity to the outside investors. Use of funds, capital budget 176, which I will show to you in the next slide. Reserve for 3 months operation 79,000 and a 15% contingency of 45,000. Total use of funds 300,000. Capital budget, we plan to spend on servers, routers, load balancers, racks, storage equipment, switches, totaling to 176,000. Sales forecast is based on 4 services that we offer. Hosted desktops, managed IT cloud services, software as a service. And next, hosted desktops, hosted server, managed IT cloud services, software as a service, price as follows: 50, 100 for the hosted server, 1,500 for the managed IT cloud services, and 25 for the software as a service. We hope to ramp up our unit volume sales at 2% per month in order to cope up with in order to sustain operations. Cash flow is basically a statement to show to our investors, partners, board of members, board of directors, as well as the bank, how we manage our cash. And it's simply a calculation of where we get our money from and where we're spending it on. Disbursement. So from the sales, the way we assume our setup is we are going to grant 100% credit on our customers on a net 30 terms. And so financing, 300,000 comes from the partners, 100,000 from the partners, and then 200,000 from an angel investor. And we already contacted 3 financial institutions that are willing to give us a 25,000 small business loan and a veteran business loan, and a 15,000 loan from the Jewish Free Loan Association. So that's around 65,000. And we hope to get an interest-bearing checking account. So the difference would be also the interest on the balance of unused funds. So the net cash sales, cash receipts less cash disbursements would be the net cash flow. And our opening balance, we also found a bank that would let us open a checking account with 0 balance. Opening plus cash receipts and disbursements is the ending cash balance. And this would be rolled over at the beginning for the next period. The next period plus the net cash flow is the ending cash flow, and it goes on. As you can see, it's all positive. And on our succeeding slides, you'll see a negative probably on our income statement, but because of a healthy cash balance, we're able to sustain our operations. Balance sheet is simply a financial position of our company, and that shows our real and tangible assets such as cash, which we take from our cash flow, accounts receivable, which is the sales from previous period, equipment and computers, which I explained earlier, which is the capital expenditures that we have. And for the accumulated depreciation, we're using a straight line method with a service useful years of 5 years with a 5% salvage value. So total assets is 316. For the short-term notes payable, basically it is the principal less the notes, the long-term notes payable. So short-term are the notes payable that is due within 12 months. Income tax payable is basically with an assumption that we would be taxed at 25%. So this is the income tax payable of the previous period. And so common stock value, we hope to be a C corporation so that it is easier for us to get funding from outside sources, like such as the financial institution. And retained earnings is taken from the income statement. As you can see here, as the years go by, the beginning retained earnings, which is the income, the net income for the first year, plus the beginning retained earnings is the ending retained earnings, and it grows. It's just an accumulation of the total net income and losses of the previous years. So as you can see, our total assets and our total liabilities and owner's equity balance, and see how the assets grows over the year. Income statement. The sales revenue is simply a summary and a recap from the sales forecast that we just presented earlier. Cost of goods sold, only 3 of our products have a cost. Everything except for the managed IT services, IT cloud services. Sales less cost is the gross profit. Operating expenses, for the first year, we will have a loss, and the net of the net operating income and the tax, we're having a loss here, but on the succeeding years, we will be making a black bottom line. Break-even analysis is basically a point wherein we don't make a loss nor an income. And the formula for break-even point is fixed cost divided by unit sales less variable costs. So the fixed cost is around $29,000, and those are the expenses whether our company makes money or not, such as the salaries of the 4 employees, the $3,000 a month, the benefits, the rent, the insurance, and the average unit sales price of the 4 is around $420, and the unit cost of the average 4 service is $100, so that's $319, and so $29,000 less $319. We have to sell around 93 units of measured services per month just to break even. Business ratios, so we have profitability ratios and liquidity ratios. The next slide will show you the figures, but basically let me just touch a few ones, like current ratio is calculated as total current assets divided by the total current liabilities, and that is basically a margin of safety to cover reduction in current assets. And for the liquidity ratio, net working capital is highly reviewed by investors, current assets minus current liabilities, and that's simply measuring the company's efficiency and short-term financial health. And this is how our figures look like. If you notice, during the first 3 quarters on the return on equity, it is a negative because we are still starting. Same with the net profit margin. Now, if you notice, we do not have any inventory, and that is because when our customers order those virtual desktops, we actually have the physical desktop because of licensing, but they don't have it at their facility because of space, and they want to probably just operate from their mobile tablet. So we ship on demand, meaning it's drop shipped also from our vendors directly to our clients. So it is 0 inventory turnover. And if you take a look here on the 5th year, it is becoming healthy, especially the return on equity. It's at 32%. Now, valuation after 5 years, we tried to adopt the assets less liabilities measure. Now, the difference between year 5 net worth, which is 1.2 million, for the first year of 263,000, that's around 377% growth. So if you're an investor and you see your money growing at a rate of 377% in 5 years, don't you think that's much better compared to letting it sit in a bank that's yielding 1% per annum?
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
We got an investor there.
For our swap, the strength we have is we value high customer satisfaction. For the weakness, we're pretty much what we haven't written there, but George just mentioned it to me, is because especially in the software as a service, it is a third-party application. So we're like a middle person. But eventually, to solve that issue, hopefully we will develop and make our own applications. Opportunity is we are in the economy of expansionary phase, characterized by rising growth and economic activity. And also we're flexible. Basically, if you are a business that's spending an IT service that we could serve worth 10,000, we will not present a plan that will cost you 20,000. So we look into what your current situation is. And our threat is, of course, the price war, the taxation, and some competition that's always booming as a mushroom. For our exit strategy, we believe in the concept of continuing business as a going concern and continuity. So we'd like to franchise so that our members and partners would be receiving royalties. We'd like to think about expanding the business by building strategic business alliances, interaction-based relationship marketing. Basically, I know that customers hire us because of the people running it. So we don't want just to entrust it to a new company that they don't know whether they could be capable of doing it. Another option is to go public. And of course, because it's 5 years down the road, we really don't know what's going to happen. So if at the time when the board members or the board of directors convene and they say we want to exit the business, that will be an option as well. So we're going to sell it or be acquired by a company and exit the industry. So the rest of the slide was just about the survey questions that we did. And team, we're here for your questions.
Give me my hand, I thought this was much improved from what we've heard at all in the past. So obviously, particularly with Moises' work, you hit the nail right on the head, I think, this time.
Really? Good.
Much better, yeah. I did have a few comments, just some minor technical issues here. First off, George, make sure you give yourself your complete name.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you can't, I'm George.
I'm George. Don't you know?
Sure, George. And I was a little confused when you mentioned that this is a consumption-based approach to paying for it.
Consumer-based, consumerization-based approach, right?
But it's a standardized fee though, so there's not any kind of incremental higher fees for using it more or less.
So
It didn't seem like it. So
yeah, it's a consumerization-based approach, meaning if they all of a sudden get 100 customers, they hire 20 new customers, they can quickly get 20 new licenses that particular month with our service. Next month, if they're no longer in tax season or whatever, come back down 5. So it can come up or down. We're not tying them into any type of.
I would just describe that as being flexibility on your part.
Okay.
Because
A flexible model.
A flexible kind of service arrangement.
Okay.
When you throw in there the consumption-based approach, it starts to ring a few other bells that may not be appropriate in this regard. So if you want to just refer to it as a flexible arrangement that allows, and I thought you did that very well, in fact, that allows the customer to ramp up when they need more services or ramp down when they don't, so they're not obligated in any way. You mentioned CapEx and OpEx as concepts. Nobody really knows what those are.
Okay.
I do, but you need to say that out.
Okay.
Capital expense, operational expense. It's okay to use those acronyms, but when you use them for the first time, spell them out. You had one slide in there that said it's a marketing assessment. I think all of your stuff is business content.
Oh, right. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Just change that so we're not.
Okay.
Because you did have some market assessment in there, I thought, which was pretty good, particularly with the growth of the industry in terms of dollar value sales. But keep all of that under the heading of business concept.
Overview, yeah.
Overview. And then when Moises comes up, he can start talking about the market assessment, not the marketing assessment. I think it's just a little semantics, but I thought Moises' part was very well done. Um, for some reason, I didn't quite hear you guys bring out the fact that you're focused on the fleet management target base until about 10 minutes into the
Yeah,
discussion.
I think I'm supposed to do it around here, and I
Yeah,
forgot.
But you gotta see that has to be like the veil that each of you guys have to come back to.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna kind of wonder like, well, why are they doing fleet management? So that's part of your initial sales job is to get that out there. You guys use those Google Maps. We still couldn't see the detail. So if you can, maybe just do maybe a Google Earth or something that gives you a better traffic view that's more legible. See that when you click on that map, you can't really read anything. You can't see any of the detail there. Not that you want to see the detail too much. I think it has to be a bigger view, Moises, so we can see what those indicators are, and they must be locations of other HVAC companies, I would imagine. We want to see where primarily those companies are, and I think later when you showed your specific location, I don't know if you ever showed your specific office location.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's the map at for that?
This one?
Yeah, from current slide.
Yeah, but where's the map at?
Oh, a map of where?
Yeah, that one, where it says, like, it's like Wilshire Boulevard, it's like in the district.
Yeah, see, that could be a better map. You don't need the bottom map there, which is kind of a visual.
It's like an aerial view.
Yeah, I think if you just had a nice freeway map that provided, some perspective on how accessible you are, that would certainly be helpful. I thought you had one slide in there that referenced ISO.
The ISO standards, yeah.
Yeah, but you referenced it with ISO 20,000. It's ISO 2,000. Does that say 20,000 up there?
I think it is 2,000. You're right. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah, it should be.
I'll take out a zero there. Yeah.
So just
Slide,
It's the next version.
slide
right.
20.
Well, see, that's the panel's good. They're gonna have
Oh, they know
eyes.
those ISO standards.
They're gonna have eagle eyes for everything. And then you had a couple of capitalization errors in some of your slides where, only the first word is capitalized in a sentence. You don't have to mix that up. Because if you do, it's not editorially correct. So make sure you do a little editing on the slides. I thought you could have added a little bit of an example. You did, in fact, but you were mentioning how the customer
What's in their portal?
is basically buying services, software services from here.
The portal.
I thought that was good. When you said if they needed more machines, though, what type of machines? These are the hosted desktops.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, you can't assume that the panel's going to follow that
right
away too. So make this a little bit more plain for us here. When we get to the HR part, I saw Lucille did a good job filling in for Mark Mira here, but you skipped over the employee training.
I basically just didn't want to read everything. I just wanted to probably read like a few lines.
You just skipped over it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, I'll make sure.
And I thought those were very well, and the way you really didn't have to read the whole list, I thought that worked out good. Uh, I thought there was a little bit of inconsistency in some of the numbers. See, I have to read them in more careful detail to check.
The
But
slides?
well,
Yes,
no, for her financials.
Oh.
In the taxes paid, I thought I saw two different tax rates, one on the income statement and one on the balance sheet, which were different numbers. So they can't be different numbers. They gotta be the same number. And then we gotta see that operating cost detail in the first year as a standalone detail.
Like what we're spending money on?
Yeah,
basically?
the detail of it, you gave me just in her income statement, she just had, well, this is what
Yeah.
our operating costs
Yeah,
are.
Professor, I know what you're saying. On the income statement, the income tax expense period for the year is not necessarily on the balance sheet because the balance sheet shows the payable of the previous period. So,
Why would the income tax even be on the balance sheet?
income tax payable. It's an income tax payable.
Okay, but if it's already paid, you paid the tax. It's not an outstanding obligation at the end of the year. It's something that's already been deducted from your earnings. So see what you're accounting for in the balance sheet is income or assets minus liabilities. So if in your assets part of that is cash, then your net cash, which is from sales, already accounts for the income tax paid.
Okay.
So I don't see why you need to have
Like an
income
income tax
taxes
payable?
because you've already paid the taxes out of cash. So your cash is the residual cash at the end of the year, right? After you deducted expenses from your cash, that's what you basically have.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. I spent so much time because there was the taxes was actually causing a circular reference, and so that's why I had to show it as the payable of the previous year periods.
I would just take it off the balance sheet because you're
Okay.
already accounting for it on the income statement, and that way you don't have that issue to worry about.
Okay.
Now, I've never seen taxes on the balance sheet because it's already being accounted for in your residual cash. Your net cash minus cost of goods and other things, when you have as a net asset, that's the cash balance after all the expenses. So I think you're accounting for it already. I thought the income statement should also come before the balance sheet. The balance sheet is kind of the last thing you show there. And then too, I thought some of your sales forecast data, George, if you can pull that slide up right there for me, the sales forecast. And see, this gives us much more, it's great slide, but it doesn't quite come from what Voices gives. Because you were just talking about the $25
Software as a service.
times. So maybe you need to qualify that. The only part of our sales forecast that I'm going to be talking about is just that part relating to software as a service. And I think you may have even said that. But when you come up and say, well, our sales forecast is not only software as a service, but these other types, then that's fine. But I think the problem becomes the units that you're selling, because that has to come from his 11% of that 44,000 number. So it always has to be supported by his numbers. And I thought the thing that you could do to make that a little more believable in terms of the growth, if you start at 11%, you can't ever grow to 100%. I think those are maybe just examples of.
Yeah, that was very high.
Well, eventually we're going to capture everybody that's out there. So.
Monopoly.
Yeah, because my figures were actually taken from George's existing business.
Yeah, okay. But they have to come more from his work. We don't know anything about his existing business. You haven't even, and in fact, I think, George, you can bring that out a little bit. That this is really an extension of something we're already doing. Okay. Maybe even in the beginning.
Yeah.
But let's just go back over that a little bit. I can't, validate the numbers off the top of my head. It just seems like there's a little inconsistency there. And then I'd get rid of those last 4 slides that dealt with the survey question. Just hide them, George. You don't have to get rid of them because somebody did ask you. Let's see your results or some. But otherwise, I thought you guys did a very nice job. Certainly much more to the point, much more organized, and a lot more clear. And Moises has done a great improvement there. So I don't know if he deserves all the credit. You guys deserve the credit for helping him, but the credit's there. So let's give him another hand, guys. And let's hear from Professor Carl. See if he has some more comments.
A few thousand words from Texas. Just kidding. Phrasing, colloquialism. George and Lucille both used pretty much. Tried to avoid that. George used a lot of. So those things imply a lesser than professional development. George, when you started out, especially in the very beginning presentation, the opening felt a little bit artificial. In some classical music, I forget, a particular piece, but I can just hear it. I mean, when the orchestra starts, it's like a crescendo of cymbals and drums and horns. It's like big out there, and it's sort of like the conductor started the orchestra when you started speaking. I think it's, and your voice raises to a higher level, and it's sort of like staccato. So I think you need to think about, and the other image I got was like at a horse race, on the track, thoroughbred racing, ding ding ding, and gates open up and the horses charge out.
Gotta get it all out.
That's the whole impression I got. So I think you need to relax and let it flow more. If you observe yourself in normal conversation, your voice is lower, more smooth delivery. So that's something to look at. You mentioned in the beginning Green Initiative as one of the things that your service helps promote. That the customer is trying to do. And so I thought that was an assumption. All your customers are not going to be doing Green Initiative. They're looking on how can I run my business better using your service. And so somebody might say, well, where's that coming from? And the other question that's begged by that statement is, if you're mentioning Green Initiative, then how does your service enhance green? So
let me add a little points there. I think it's worth mentioning even if customers don't have that as their priority, because that could become sort of indirect form of marketing for the clients. That if they're creating benefits without realizing it as a result of their trucks or their fleets being managed more efficiently, the first benefit is less pollution. The next benefit is more efficient use of the vehicles themselves. So you're not having the repairs off. These are obviously assumptions, but I think to have sustainability or green concepts in mind doesn't hurt.
Right.
It can only help. I don't know, even if the customer says, look, I hate green stuff, nobody's going to hate the good business that comes from being pro-environmental, particularly in our economy, or in our region here. And I think the thing you have to do, George, which Professor Carl really hit on, is try and come out really relaxed. I thought you were a little nervous at the beginning, which is why you didn't say your last name. But that's why you use that first part to really relax a little bit. rather than speak or make your presentation. You have to just start talking. And then once you get comfortable with the sound of your own voice, then you can get into your presentation. But somehow or another, you have to let your own voice come out so you can hear how you sound. And if you sound nervous to yourself, you're nervous. So you got to think of whatever is going to work to calm you down. And the one thing that does help is your transition between presenters. I thought you did a nice job of setting Morse's up. He did an even nicer job of recognizing you as setting them. Thanks, George, for your nice overview and introduction. I can take it right from there. And the same thing with you. So all of that kind of helps each other, to kind of feel a little more relaxed if you get a little intro from the person before you. And I thought the way you guys dovetailed with each other was also very synergistic. It seemed to have more connectivity this time around. A couple
Okay.
more points, Professor.
Yeah. For your presentation next week, I would expect the men to be in coats and ties, and the women in appropriate feminine business dress. In fact, for dress for the dress rehearsal that we're having today, I always expect that, but sometimes that doesn't happen for some reason. Let's see. Luisa, I especially want to compliment you on your improvement. Over and above, very significant.
Everybody notices that. It's not just me that's picking that up. So good points.
And in your section, Luisa, you mentioned something about services, which I assume was office productivity services. And the question, and so perhaps we need some clarification on what you were talking about. But if you were, Microsoft has a online productivity services called Office 360, as I recall.
Right.
And so I was confused. Are you going to use that, or was that your own stuff, or whatever? So that probably needs to be looked at. Then George, when you talked about security,
Yeah.
when if you say you're compliant with, and I think you were referencing several security things.
PCI, HIPAA, and Sarbanes-Oxley. Right.
Yeah, it went by pretty fast. So
Okay.
And nobody knows what PCI is. That's the payment card.
Yeah, I said it was a payment card.
He defined that.
Okay.
Very well. And you did it very well. The question that came to my mind, so number one, that went pretty fast on what you're referring to. And not the specific definition of each acronym. It was like there are a number of standards or requirements that need to be met, and these are PCI, and then PCI is whatever it is. The other security thing, though, that came to my mind, question is on login. One of the big things, if you're watching the internet news, there's a lot of discussion about why businesses are hacked by
Yeah.
non-authorized people, and a lot of that has to do with the different kinds or levels of security that are implemented. And I don't have it off the top of my head what those are, but perhaps if you can do a review of the reports, like I'm on MSNBC dominantly, and so when I'm reading a news article, it's usually from their site. That the different kinds of things that assure that the person trying to log in is really authorized.
This one right here. And so where hacker uses social manipulation, basically what they're going to do is they're going to socially manipulate to get this authentication like usually your birth date, your password, and then that's how they're gonna hack in. So this is the thing that addresses that issue there.
Anyway, I was left a little bit like, what about this?
Right.
So it didn't, maybe it went too fast for me, maybe it wasn't completely explained, but I just wanted to point that out. See, there you could have referenced like this is the problem that these people have been having.
Yeah.
And there are some social networks where that's happened, there's other companies where that's happened. So just try to orient them to something that they know.
Right.
On that same note, I think the comment I had for you, George, was, you know, you guys are talking about software as a service. Well, what kind of software? Is it just typical Microsoft Office software, or is it something that's proprietary to the client? So I don't know how you guys would have the original license for that software.
Yeah, so we're reselling it basically, right? Yeah.
Okay, so is that something you can do? Resell?
So that's our address and our weakness actually, that we're actually a third-party reseller of someone else's fleet management and productivity software. And in the future, we're going to be developing our own in-house development team.
Yeah, so just to
to go-
clarify a little bit
yeah.
more, so we know what it is that you're actually going to be providing. I was a little bit, like Carl said, some parts of it just went a little too fast. And I don't want you guys to be keeping your eye on the clock as much as it is making sure you're giving a good, thorough presentation. So we're less concerned about the time, not totally unconcerned about it, but we don't want you to hurry through parts of it, and you know, particularly the parts that might be controversial. You know, you don't want to not let us see that. Because you know what else going to happen is say, well, can you go back to those slides that you didn't show us? And then if there's something in it you really should have talked about, it looks like you were prepared to talk about it.
So, Lucille,
Yes, Professor.
nice smooth presentation. You mentioned state and employer ID, and IRS taxpayer ID. Is there really a state and employer ID separate from using the IRS taxpayer ID?
Yes.
And because in all my work, I've never applied for one or used one. And what does it, how does that enter into the tracking, record keeping, etc.? Well, I'm a sole proprietor, but usually companies have IRS taxpayer IDs.
Yeah, and that's sufficient for the state.
And that's sufficient to go on the state tax report. So the question
Payroll.
becomes, why would I need to have a state employer ID?
Yes, you do, because like when you write a payroll, you have to report because employees have to pay state taxes as well.
Sure.
So
But
state tax.
wouldn't that be used with the IRS?
No, it's different.
Yeah. Okay, so.
We'll do a little research on that ourselves.
Yes, I do payroll.
Yeah, I imagine your incorporation papers would provide some.
Yeah, I don't recall that. I've been involved in creating corporations, and I didn't recall that. So maybe just clarification of how that's applied, because maybe not everybody's aware of that. When you talked about code of ethics, that went by pretty fast, and you had several slides there. I didn't know whether that was all part of your code of ethics, all the slides, or.
There were like 2 slides for code of ethics.
Yeah, but the thing that came to me was clarifying, maybe looking at that whole section of those slides. Your business organization values, business mission, your God, I've got another block now. Business mission, values, and then there was something else I just blocked in my memory. But in that whole area of things, and then code of ethics fits in good clarification of what
In
we're talking
fact,
about.
that should be something that George should come out with in the very beginning of the statement of purpose, mission, and that can all be on one slide.
Okay.
Because those are very short statements in
Okay.
and of themselves.
Now, you see, I like your timeline.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Yeah, that's very good. On your financials, you reported, it sounds like you're purchasing your IT equipment.
IT licensing. Oh yeah, and the equipment, right? Yeah.
So, the question would be, can you lease that stuff versus buy it? I may have
Yes.
discussed that earlier. And so you are purchasing it. And then you're going to use straight line depreciation.
Yeah.
Now that equipment and that software, well, the software is probably expensed because it's an annual fee.
Right.
But the equipment is an expenditure and has a 5-year life. That's reasonable. Maybe a little bit long, maybe 3-year life. And straight line versus 200% decline in balance. Most equipment, most businesses want to use 200% decline in balance. And I just did some taxes recently, so I'm very familiar with it again. And the tax tables, at least for individuals, they show how they pre-compute that for you. So they, at a certain point when your 200% double declining balance reaches a certain point compared to straight line, then you convert over to straight line. So the question for me would have been, why are they not using 200% declining balance? Because that gives you more money up front net.
Yeah, they could probably use any depreciation method that makes most sense to them. But for explaining it to the audience, straight line, easiest way to go. 5 years, bang, bang, bang. Even if you went accelerated or some other method, it's only gonna adjust the numbers a little bit. So for clarity, let's stick with the straight line.
And just making that statement, we realize there are other ways to depreciate it, but we chose this for presentation. Just a couple more points, maybe for Moises especially, reinforcing the idea of writing up notes for your PowerPoint slides, because what that does is that it burns in your brain what you actually want to say, and then you can look at what you're writing and say, oh, here's a better way, and then you catch these pretty much kind of things too. And just one more point, you might want to look at in PowerPoint if you can have a mouse over. So like on these maps, you could mouse over and the bigger image of the map would come up,
Oh, so it's like
but you don't have to go
area.
to a different slide or remove slides, because those slides look really nice. They're well designed. So maybe you can check out whether you can use a mouse over. So then you just slide over like that upper right-hand corner, and just slide your mouse up over that object. The alternate map would come up and give you a better presentation.
Very good. Thank you very much. Well, did you have a comment in the back? Or you just wanted to? No, that's good. Let's give him another hand, guys.